Back is one of my body parts that I've been trying to bring up over the last 12 months. With a lot of hard work and tweaking my training, I've made some improvements. In this video, I'll go over the top 4 things killing your back gains. Number 1, you deadlift on back day. This one might be somewhat controversial because I know a lot of people love deadlifting. Deadlifts are a great exercise overall. In fact, at the start of this year, I was doing them in my training as well, but it wasn't to grow my back. It was to have one strength-focused movement in my routine. I did get some results starting off my back days with deadlifts, but a few months later when I took them out of my training and focused entirely on rows and pull downs, my back responded even better. Here's why. Deadlifts aren't a back exercise, they're a full body exercise. They work the spinal erectors, rhomboids, lats and traps, but they also work your hamstrings, quads, glutes and core. Depending on your body structure and deadlift stance, some of these muscles get worked more than others. For most people, deadlifts hit the lower body and spinal erectors much harder than anything else. The lats, traps and rhomboids play more of a stabilizing role and don't get worked through their full range of motion. This isn't ideal for hypertrophy, but if deadlifts are a great overall exercise and do grow your spinal erectors, why did I stop doing them? The answer is systemic fatigue. By the time you finish your deadlifts, you're already drained because it's such a taxing exercise. This means you won't be able to train with the same intensity for the rest of your workout. So although deadlifts might be good for your spinal erectors, for overall back growth, there's better options that don't destroy your central nervous system. If deadlifts work for you, then go for it. But if you're serious about growing your back, then either do deadlifts on a different day or just don't have them in your training while you're trying to grow your back. This second point is super important. That is, not doing controlled negatives and fully stretching out your lats. When you're in the gym, there's a big difference between doing a set and maximizing that set for hypertrophy. Lifting the weight from point A to B isn't bodybuilding, that's weightlifting. As you get more experience with your training, you need to be more mindful about the quality of your sets as well. Quality is just as important as progressive overload. In any pulling movement where the focus for you is your lats over your mid-back, make sure you're fully stretching out your lats before you start each rep. The science would back me up on this one as well. Training in longer muscle lengths leads to greater hypertrophy. In addition to getting a full stretch of your lats, slowing down and controlling the negative part of each rep has 2 benefits as well. Firstly, it makes for a better mind-muscle connection with your back. Over time, this means you'll be able to contract them better during your training. For most people, back is the hardest muscle group to get a good mind-muscle connection with. That's why this is so important. Squeezing and holding the contracted position is another great way of building a strong mind-muscle connection with your back. Secondly, eccentric contractions or negatives performed at longer muscle lengths cause more muscle damage. You're also stronger in the negative part of each rep, so if you aren't controlling your negatives, you might be leaving gains on the table. From personal experience, I can attest to this. Intentional controlled negatives and fully stretching out my back has made a huge difference in my training. Next up, not training your back often enough or hard enough. If you're trying to grow your back, then hitting it once a week isn't gonna cut it. In my opinion, the sweet spot is twice a week. I aim for around 15 to 20 hard working sets per week for back. On each day that I train back, I do 2 lat focused exercises and 1 mid back focused exercise. On at least one of those days, I'll also add in some hyperextensions for my spinal erectors. And guys, if you're past the beginner stage in the gym and you're not training with intensity, this will hold you back. After my warm-up or activation sets, every set I do is to failure, and I'm making a conscious effort to control the weight as much as possible. When it comes to taking your back to failure, there's 2 simple things that can give you an edge. The first is lifting straps. I use them on many of my working sets, especially when doing one side at a time. Lifting straps get rid of some bicep and forearm activation. This will help you achieve a better contraction with your back. The second is grip. Grip is also important if you want to really tax your back. Making sure you have a good grip of the handle or bar before starting each set and readjusting if you need to is something so simple but makes a big difference. In addition to this, making a conscious effort to squeeze with all of your fingers will make a big difference to the quality of contraction that you get. This will take some experimenting with to find what works best for you, and it may change depending on what exercise you're doing. Lastly, you've stopped doing pull-ups. The majority of my back training are variations of rows and pull downs, but sometimes the basics can get overlooked. Adding pull-ups to one of your back days, or even when you're training a lighter muscle group, will definitely make a difference. If you can't do pull-ups yet, then that's fine. Most gyms have pull-up assisted machines. Once you can do sets of at least 6 to 8 reps with your own body weight, you'll definitely see gains coming through. Pull-ups are a great complement to the rest of your back training, so find some space for them. I currently do pull-ups at the start of my shoulder and bicep workout on a separate day. This is so my back is fresh when I do them. And guys, these 4 things were all about what you can do in the gym. But just remember, you won't get the results you want if you don't have your nutrition locked in. So make sure to track your calories and get enough protein as well. That's it guys, hope this video was helpful. Leave a thumbs up if it was, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join me in the journey of aesthetics. See you in the next one.